Hi, and welcome to the UOPY Android demo presentation. My name is Jianfu Mao. I'm a principal software engineer at Rocket. In this presentation, we will show you step by step how to set up an Android emulator, install the Python environment on it, then use UOPY both in command line mode and in a GUI application. An Android emulator is a virtual Android device that enables us to test Android apps on a desktop or laptop. In this demo, we are going to use the Android Studio IDE by Google that comes with an integrated Android Virtual Device Manager for creating and running Android emulators. To download Android Studio, just go to developer.android.com/studio. This website is shown here, and you can see I've already downloaded it. Let me just run the installer program. It's a pretty big program, so it takes a while to bring up. So here it is. Just take all the default options and let it run. Considering its size, it runs pretty fast actually. All right, it looks like it's installed. We can just start it. So here it is. It's started. You have this welcome screen here. So let's see how we can configure Android emulator. You don't have to create any new project or anything. Just go to config and bring up the AVD manager. AVD stands for Android Virtual Device. And here you can create a virtual device. Click on that, and you can see the categories you have. You can do TV, phone, wearables, tablet, even Android Auto. For our purpose, we want to use the phone device, and we want to choose one with Play Store included. So I'm gonna just pick the Pixel 3a and click Next. And there's a bunch of Android OS versions you can choose. Let's just use the latest. Next. Just take the default here. And all right, we have defined a Pixel 3a Android R emulator. So on this Action tab, we can actually launch this emulator. Let's do that. Wow, so looks like we got an emulator running. And let's see, do we need to start? Okay, it's auto starting, so that's good. It might take a while for the emulator to be fully running because the device manager needs to download the Android OS and install it, all that. So we're going to pause the recording. When it's back, we'll resume it. Okay, so the emulator is up and running. And you can see here we have the Google Play Store icon there. Let's run that because we need that to install our Python Android app. If it's the first time we run this program or this app, it will take a while. The second time when you run it, it's much better. So we're gonna do, looks like you need to create Google account. in order to use Google Play. So let's click sign in. Let's do wait. And this step also takes a very long time. So let's pause the recording and come back when it is up. Okay, so after a while, we finally arrive at this sign in page. So just provide your email address and your password to sign in. I'm going to use my own Google account to do that, but I'm going to pause it. I don't want to share my personal information here. Okay, so I just signed in with my Google account. Well, this is a bunch of service agreement stuff, license stuff. So I just agree and just accept all the Google services. So here we are. What we are looking for is one app called PyDroid. Actually, it's PyDroid 3. 3 stands for Python 3, I guess. So we're gonna just install this app. Okay, now PyDroid 3 is installed. Let's open the app. You can see that the first thing it does is installing Python. All right, the PyDroid 3 is up and running. As you can see, there's a bunch of things you can do. There even a sample code. So the next thing we want to do is to drop our UOPY installation package and one example code there. So what you can do is actually just drag and drop to the emulator screen. I think we need another one. Yeah, this command py. All right, so the initial setup of the emulator is done. So next we're going to show you how to install UOPY and try some functions. Let's see how we can use UOPY in the emulator we just defined. Okay, so one thing that happened to me is after I drag and dropped the UOPY installation package and example code to the emulator, for some reason PyDroid 3 crashed on me, and I have to restart it a few times to make it work. Another thing I didn't try, but you might, if you run into the same issue, is just to use this power button to restart the emulator. So the first thing we want to do is to try use UOPY on the command line. And before we do that, we want to, turn the emulator's auto rotate on because we want to use the landscape view and it's much better to see. So let's start the terminal and we're gonna rotate it. And we also want to turn off the soft keyboard and we want to make it a lot bigger, a lot easier to see. All right. So from this directory, we can actually just go down to the download folder. And this is just like Linux, so all the Linux commands work here. I mean, not all, but most of them. So you can see that we have the UOPY installation package, and we also have the GUI command example there. So for beta users, you'll have to use this command to install UOPY. But once we put UOPY to PyPy in the official release, then you don't even need to drag and drop the package there. You can just do like this, pip UOPY. Okay, so since we're still in the beta program at this recording, we're going to do this. Well, it just worked. Let's start the Python. And you can see we're running Python 3.8.3. So we're going to do an import UOPY. We're going to try to make a connection to a Unidata server. That it's connected. So next thing we can do is we can try to run a command on the server. Let's say list walk command.run print command.response. And you can see it just worked. So, and that concludes the command line UOPY on Android demo. Next, we want to try to port the tkinter-based GUI UOPY example to Android. So click on this button to go back to the PyDroid 3 IDE, and we want to open the example file we drag and drop to the emulator. Click on that, select download folder, and this is a file we want to open. Let's change it to the vertical view so it's easier for us to modify the code. And we do need to make a few changes. The first one we want to make is to change the default IP address to the one that my server is running on. The second one, the default user would be my name, the password, and we also want to change the default command to conmog. There are two more changes we need to make. I'm going to go to line 240, and we want to comment out this line. And this change is necessary because this code just doesn't agree with the tkinter library on Android. But that's all the changes we need to make. So let's run this app. Oh, it runs. You can see that because of the form factor difference between Android device and the desktop, that screen doesn't fit very well on Android emulator, but we can still use it. So let's do a connect. You can see that we did connect to the server, okay. So next we can run this count walk command. Just click on that and you can see the command run successfully. All right. So that pretty much concludes the demo. I hope you have enjoyed this short presentation. These are the additional recordings we have created on UOPY. Please check them out if you haven't already. As always, we value your feedback and look forward to hearing them.